Good. And a good morning to you, Lagos. You're tuning in and listening to Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Right now, it's 8:16, which means it's time to talk sports inside the locker room. And joining Kayode Baker and myself in the studio, we have Tefe, aka Tega Supreme, up on Twitter. Good morning, Tega.
Good morning.
Excellent. It's a rainy morning, but I think it just helped most of us sleep well, didn't it?
Yeah, help me sleep extra.
Excellent, excellent.
Should have fallen on Saturday like this.
Okay, there are Saturdays to come still with plenty of rain in them. Lagos, do join us in conversation this morning. If you are a little bit wet, it's okay, find somewhere nice and dry. But just sit back, relax as we delve into the world of sports and what happened over the sporting weekend. Use the hashtag LockerRoom981 to chat with us up on Twitter. And of course, send in messages to our WhatsApp number as well. It is 0809 444 0981. And don't forget, we're streaming on YouTube. So hello to everybody out in YouTube world. Hit the subscribe button. Just search for Smooth 981 FM Lagos up on YouTube. So let's talk basketball. It seems as though Denver Nuggets guard has been spending some time with Donald Trump because he used a phrase that the U.S. president has made somewhat famous in a bad way, the S-hole phrase. Yep. In a video, Isaiah Thomas called the city of Cleveland an S-hole. He said, "I can see why LeBron left again." He did have to apologize, though, for saying that. He posted an apology on Twitter and then posted an additional video on Instagram saying, "Cleveland isn't that bad." In the second video, he continued by saying, "I shouldn't have said that. That was my fault. Cleveland was actually cool. It was all right. The situation just wasn't the best. So I apologize for saying it was an S-hole. It wasn't an S-hole. The team was dope. The players was filthy. My guy, Gio, training stuff was cold. Nah, Cleveland was cool. I shouldn't have said that. That was my bad. My bad."
You've already said it. We already know what you think. We already know that you are a jerk.
He already spoke his truth. That's how he really felt.
Look, he did. Look, it's one type. It's another thing to make a video.
Why did he make a video? That just seems so reckless and actually, frankly, quite foolish.
It looks very deliberate. Like, I want to show these people that, and you don't
I'm not afraid of you.
You don't say that about. Come on, I don't care where you've been, and how rich you think you are, but you don't say that as Thomas. It's like, every time he opens his mouth, he just puts himself into worse problems. His basketball on court is not even getting any better, and then his character is just dipping in form the same way his basketball is. You don't do that. Right now, what Isaiah Thomas needs to do is concentrate on basketball, how he's going to get back to being the guy from two playoffs ago, that everything is big thing. This guy that is bitter and sulking and pointing fingers at different people. Everybody's is responsible for Isaiah Thomas's problem, but Isaiah Thomas himself. And then you do this, and then you come out and say you're sorry. We know that there's no, you can't take it back. Look,
you were caught.
Somebody from Akron just walking down the street sees you. They already know that they're about to poke their finger in your eye. There's nothing you can do about it. Just it's done.
I wonder if he's gonna have little children running up to him and just kick.
I'm telling you, just messing with him. Even at the apology, is supposed to be PR. People are supposed to say, but he apologized. That doesn't stop people from hating you right now. So, and eventually, he may be going back to Cleveland to play. I don't want to imagine what the reception would be for him. So I'm waiting for the roster to come out so that how many times he may beg off, take a mental health break or something, but he's done. He's done.
Ooh, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Okay, so let's talk about the Falconets. They're going to be playing a make or mark clash against China today. And, Nigeria's Falconets must win their last Group D tie against China this afternoon, or they will be headed home from the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup ongoing in France. Now, according to assistant coach Mansour Abdullahi, the Falconets would not be laid back in the game as they need to win to guarantee a passage. But we're talking about the same Chinese team they made it to I think they were third a few years ago, and they're also one of the strongest teams in the tournament. So how are we going to, go past these guys?
I can't say that they're one of the strongest teams in the tournament. I can't even put them near there because they are teams and they are teams. But what I can say is that they fly. And I don't know that we can fly along, but that's when they use everything at their disposal. And so their wing play is perfect. Their passes are great. The Falconets that I saw against Haiti are the Falconets I do not ever want to see in my life again. They did win the game, but it was such a horrible display, and I keep saying that the only reason that they won that game was because Haiti did not have anybody to any finishing at all, because Haiti dominated possession. Haiti had created the better chances. They just couldn't score, and the Falconets had one penalty that Rashidat put away, and that was it. But outside that penalty, there was nothing else in the game apart from the match. You're coming against a Chinese side that have a few more options when it comes to scoring, a few more variety when it comes to better variety, sorry, when it comes to playing. It just looks like a very tough case for the Falconets to handle today. But if they show the Falconets that came on, which is just be compact, and maybe when you have a break or two, you try and score, they could survive this. But I'm not very hopeful. I'm not as hopeful as a coach. Then again, I'm not their coach.
All right, okay. Well, let's go over and talk about a young hope, a Nigerian table tennis superstar, Aruna Challenge Nigeria Open in Lagos, defeating his French opponent and Anthony Hashared, I believe. He said, reacting to his victory, Aruna disclosed that, but for the vociferous fans at the Molade Okoya Thomas Indoor Sports Hall, people that were shouting who urged him on, he counter to his opponents. He says the chants from the fans boosted my morale during the match, and I trained very hard before the tournament to ensure that I didn't disappoint my fans, and it would have been annoying and disappointing if I'd failed them. They'd come from far and wide to support me during this tournament, and you can see their attitude all through the match. So they did not relent in their effort to spur me on. Even when I lost points, they kept supporting me, and that means a lot to me. And I can only imagine the atmosphere.
Oh, you don't want to know. Once a Nigerian stand around, they don't want to know if it's official or
whatever.
The noise just goes up. But the thing about Aruna quite impressive is because he's gone to a number of tournaments, his playing style has completely changed. It's not raw. It's not street smart. You can tell that
it's refined.
It is refined. Yes. So the more tournaments he's gone to, of the names you hear, he always fights to go for tournaments. If he has to pay for it from his pocket, if he has to get on to, he goes, and that's what getting involved in different competitions help you to do, which is why when we talk about table tennis, you see the same names going up over and over again. Those are the names that have found their way to get out of the rest of them and excelled elsewhere, and so they can bring it back. So I think I was shocked, first of all, that he did get to the finals. But when he got there, I was like, this Frenchman, today
you're gonna hear it.
You're gonna know.
Gonna hear it.
But it's good to see Aruna Quadri win this, and it just goes to show that if you put in much investment, and investment doesn't just mean about money, it means about competition, about preparation, it means time, you will get out good results. So congratulations to Aruna Quadri, and congratulations to Lagos State for hosting this event again and successfully this time. So we now have hosted the event and you've won it. It's not like the marathon that you host Kenya and win it.
Nice one. Actually, let's see if we can take a couple of messages and then we'll take a quick break. All right, just to keep listening and keep sending in those messages. This one is in from Cruz, who says the Nigeria versus China matchup reminds me of Nigeria versus Argentina setup from the Senior Men's World Cup. Same scenario all over again. Wow.
This one says from Twain from Agodo says, good morning everyone. The issues Isaiah Thomas has had with the game is injury and the amount of potential making him super.
So he's making him bitter.
Okay, it's not a good look. Wish him all the best. But at Denver will not will need all the luck he can get. Okay, he's the NBA's 2017-2018 almost man.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow, my chest.
Almost.
What can they call you an almost man? Tega, let's take a break. When we come back, we're taking more of your comments and, of course, more sports stories right here inside the locker room. Don't forget to follow us up on Good morning.
behind the scenes, I'll just ask you that ACV that you see. Please, these are beauty concerns. That ACV that you see.
Yeah.
So when you want to you mix it, that
I
you
do
can use
like
for your
one
face.
part.
Kilonje one part. I don't speak
Any
French.
depending on what container or bottle.
Okay.
Basically small to like a third. So if you divide your bottle into thirds, I do like a third of ACV. The rest of it's water.
Oh, okay.
So I mix it with a lot of water because my skin doesn't do. If it's too acidic, just test. You feel.
Yeah, it will be
It
just
will be
dry.
too. Yes, it might
And
be
it will be
too
biting
painful.
you. Yeah.
Yes. So you get a little. I like a mild sting, but not like heavy. So also after you use whatever mix you make, look at it. Look at your skin the next day to see if you get small. If you get small raised bumps, it's a bit. Your skin is
It's
just a little irritated. So dilute it
Yeah,
some more.
dilute it
That's
some
all. But some
Okay,
people,
but
some
you just
people I
use
know
it in
that
the
do
morning
half
and
and
the
half.
evening. Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, what's your skin made of?
Are you quarreling with your skin?
Yeah, I
So
use it
what's
morning and evening.
morning and evening, and you can save it like just like you put in the fridge, like
I
the one
just
you
keep it in
drink.
my room, like because apple cider vinegar by itself, you don't have to put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
It's just fine.
Yeah, just on my table.
In small bottles, just so I don't use too. Do you know what I mean? And I mix, and the water I use is always filtered water, so it's water from filtered drinking water, not tap water.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do
Just
now.
a little, because at the moment I'm hormonal, but it's helping to just keep it balanced.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that's what this. Yeah.
So that's what's this.
It's okay. You don't have to be make extra efforts, but you always have one or two, but it won't be crazy as long as you're not. Because that's what I had to stop doing because there was one I was like, and I knew I was like,
That one was the
and then as soon as you press it, you're like, that was a mistake because it still wasn't ready to go,
Yeah.
and you just aggravated your skin now. But it's okay. But it works. It works. It works.
We're gonna do it now.
Battle for clear skin.
I'm telling
It's
you.
a daily struggle, my sister. I just remember that I had to go back to drinking more water because I stopped drinking as much water as I'm like. It's everything together.
It's everything.
Yeah. My skin is doing much better. You have noticed?
Not really.
Yeah, don't say
I think in the last 1 week I've had so many come out at the same time.
I mean from when I first came.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this is huge. Like it's clearer. Alrighty, we back in. You have the story back.
Yes, I do.
Studio, Mike Sarah. This is your Love Music, Love Life station, Smooth 98.1, and we are talking sports inside the locker room on Smooth Breakfast. Let's jump into our next story.
Okay, so let's talk tennis one more time. World number one, Rafael Nadal, beat unseeded Stefanos Tsitsipas to win the Rogers Cup in Toronto, bringing the Greeks' stunning run to an end. Now, Tsitsipas lost 6-7-4. He had a set point in the 12th game of the second set, and but couldn't convert it. And also earlier, Romania's Simona Halep beat America's Sloane Stephens in 3 sets to win the women's event in Montreal.
Okay, first of all, I have to say, like I said on Friday, Tsitsipas, the sensation. So amazing that, he took out 4 top 10 players this week alone. Like, here I am, I'm announcing myself. His birthday was yesterday, and as soon as he got to Rafa Nadal, I said he's going to eat you up. Because Tsitsipas has a way of playing his game. He slowly builds into it. His serves are good, his ground strokes are a little perfect, but his court coverage is nothing like a returner that in the category of Rafa Nadal. Yes, Djokovic returns very well, but Rafa Nadal is very dogged and resilient. So it's not just his Rafa Nadal's technique you play against when you come up against him. It's his character and his belief. And when somebody is that dogged, it's just hard to win because it doesn't matter what it is that you serve Rafa Nadal, he will find a way to try and send it back. And the problem with that for people like Tsitsipas are will be keeping their concentration for as long as Rafa Nadal is standing. So except Rafa Nadal gives up, it's going to be hard for you to beat him. And so he just made it tough for Tsitsipas. First set was a complete stroke, but second set was when, like I said, Tsitsipas slowly builds into his game. Second set is when he starts to wake up a little. Made it a fight of it. Looked like he was going to take out Nadal. With another player, maybe he may just have succeeded, but with Rafa Nadal, Rafa Nadal will fight to the death, and that's Rafa Nadal for you. So Rafa Nadal fought every single thing, and Tsitsipas was just getting. It was more of frustration, like, how did you return that? Wait, why did you return that? So those were the struggles. But Rafa Nadal won, and Tsitsipas can carry this record and continue building from there, because, like I said, last year was when he started showing contender, beating one or two big names. But this is the first time he's put in a run of 4 top 10 ranked players in the world. So I can't wait to see what Cincinnati will bring, if he's going to have any more energy to play that. But going to the women, that's where all the action and the fight was. It was Sloane Stephens against Simona Halep.
Oh, wow.
Yes, again. In another final, Sloane Stephens was like, okay, this is my backyard. The least I can do is beat you here. She didn't start off well, but her second set was when she showed her power. Yes. That girl is lovely. I think what Sloane Stephens needs to have to add to her powerful ground strokes is just a little more fight.
Okay.
She's always doing that. She has the game, but she's not raising her game just an extra gear or two. Simona Halep is that kind of, it's like a bit of Chihuahua, just biting at something, you know. So she just kept fighting. So they played so hard. They fought for so long. I think it was almost 3 hours or thereabout. By the time they finished the game, both of them needed chairs. Like they were done. They left it all on the court.
But that's a good game. That's how you're supposed to do anything. Like, go in, give it your all. I know that I can't move again.
So when you looked at that, it was world number 1 against world number 3, and you're like, that's world number 1 and that's world number 3. And that's how they played. But it was fantastic. Unfortunately, Sloane Stephens couldn't get her revenge. It was Simona Halep who won again. So let's see how US Open will be, because US Open is now her village. You know, she's a New York girl. So that's her village. So if she sees Simona Halep there, let's see what we'll do.
We should just check Simona Halep's water. It might be compromised at some point. Let's all take that as inspiration for how we're going to attack this week. We've got messages coming through as well up on WhatsApp. Benga Kamu says, congratulations to Aruna Quadri. He has done great. One person who succeeds in spite of the Nigerian quagmire, he says. More congratulations coming in, but this time from Chima B. Victor from Tanzania, who says, the Falconets coach should shout less today and stop confusing the players on the field. Wow. Because this China female team understand Yoruba language. And while for Barcelona, they just got lucky last night. But he says, kudos to Haruna Quadri for making us proud. At least we hosted the competition and won it. And we really need to celebrate this athlete and not the governor's handshake. Please let me move on and talk about Barcelona. So, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen saved a last-minute penalty as Barcelona beat Sevilla 2-1 to win the Spanish Super Cup in Tangier, Morocco. Now, Pablo Sarabia put Sevilla ahead when the video assistant referee gave a goal which had been ruled out for offside. VAR in action. But Gerard Piqué leveled from close range, and Ousmane Dembele then fired Barca into the lead. Now, Sevilla had a late penalty when Ter Stegen fouled Alex Vidal, but he held Wissam Ben Yedder's weak spot kick. Now, Barcelona 9 of the last 10 Super Cups, but this was the first to take place over just one leg and in a foreign country. Interesting.
They did. Yeah, it was Morocco. It was, look, I have to applaud Morocco. It was some money-making moves. They have all these arrangements. But it was some business. And they made some good money. It was some business moves. La Liga said, we are taking it there, whether people are coming or not.
And they're doing more work on the African continent.
They're trying to expand. Yes. So they're like, we are taking it there. If people are coming, if people are not coming, we are trying going. But it was impressive. Again, it was basically the finals of the Copa del Rey, because Barcelona won the La Liga and the Copa del Rey. So they had to play the finalists of the Copa del Rey. Usually it is the winner of the Copa del Rey against the winner of La Liga. But since they won both, what can we say? But they started the game a bit, should I say, shaky. And I would say it's because they used midfielders like Rafinha and Otto to pair with Sergio Busquets as opposed to the usual suspects in Rakitic and maybe Coutinho. They eventually brought those ones in, but there were a lot of chances created. I'm also going to say that this is going to be an even tougher season for Luis Suarez, because he seemed not to want to take the responsibility. Yes, apart from a clear-cut chance, he would take a shot. But most in general, he passed the ball over to Lionel Messi. Like, so, I mean, twice he passed the ball to Lionel Messi, and Lionel Messi was looking at him like, dude, kick the ball by yourself. Yeah, you're in a good position. So I'm wondering why he keeps passing the ball. The guy is still going to be your friend, whether you give him the ball or not. So he might as well just score goals and win. On that note, I don't know how Valverde is going to work it out. Maybe he needs to remind Suarez that he's a striker, but he needs to sort that out. But Sevilla did put up a good game. And if Ben Yedder would have taken the penalty a little better, maybe, just maybe, the goalkeeper won't have been able to, but they kept the fight until the very last minute. It was interesting to watch. It was heartbreaking for Sevilla again to lose to Barcelona, but congratulations to Barcelona. They won it for the 13th time.
All right.
All right, so let's talk about Arsenal and Manchester City. And the coach here is talking. He says, Unai Emery acknowledged that plenty work lies ahead of his Arsenal side after losing to Manchester City in the first game in charge of the club. Now, reflecting on his first competitive game at Arsenal, Emery told reporters, Manchester City's performance showed us that we need to continue the process of improving. They deserved the result. So do we see another, I don't know, Arsene Wenger in the making? With
No, I can't do that comparison. Arsene Wenger is Wenger, Emery is Emery. I don't like that comparison. I don't like to put.
Wenger is a nearly. We say is a nearly guy. Emery sometimes can be a nearly guy too.
Yeah, but I don't like to put the two of them together. They are two different people. What I would say, Emery has done is gotten the fans back to the stadium. That's what I would say he has done so far. And maybe given the players something different to play for, because they looked a bit more ambitious for some time, apart from Ozil. Ozil never looks ambitious. I don't know what he doesn't have any ambition. The guy just gets on the pitch and plays. But what it was that, yes, Manchester City really didn't even have to shift gears. They looked comfortable throughout the game, even when they were under pressure, apart from the few errors the goalkeeper made when he was passing the ball out or when they were trying to pass the ball out from the back. Apart from those few errors in the second half, they were comfortable for most of the game. And even if it was just 2-0, it wasn't like Arsenal really did much. Now, if Arsenal had taken one or two of those chances or taken advantage of those mistakes that Man City had made, maybe it would have just made the game a little more interesting. But what it was that Manchester City was a bit comfortable. Arsenal was not doing enough to put them under pressure. Lacazette came in like a house on fire. I'm going to burn this place down. And then after 2 minutes, he fizzled out. It was just so
1 minute.
So yes, Unai Emery, he does have a lot of work to do, and it would have to do with, I would say, character, not necessarily skill, because everybody, if you ask me, the most laid-back people play for him, not Aubameyang, Mkhitaryan, Mesut Ozil. That's your front three.
Yikes.
Thank you. Where is the fighter? There's no
Yikes.
fighter there like Sanchez would have been trying to fight and put in. There's nobody there. Aaron Ramsey in the midfield, yes, he's Rambo sometimes, but again, he's kind of casual. So it's conservative. He needs what Unai Emery needs is a fighter. So if he's going to have to be the fighter, standing on the side of the pitch and yelling his players or spurring his players into action, I don't know what it is, but they don't seem to have that extra bite when they face the big four. So I think they're going to struggle.
Okay, well, we got lots of messages coming in about that. Dare for Exploit sends in this first one up on Twitter.
This one here says the positives of Arsenal's defeat is, in Arsene Wenger's voice, is Unai
is ready to take risks.
And early substitutions, 54th minute, new signings are good to go. Gunners should be patient.
Yeah, she says Gooners, but I won't take that personally. Ludin. Nathan Njoku says, listen, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Liverpool will win the EPL this season. Also, Arsenal is still looking for their new identity, and nobody's happy at United and Chelsea are neither here nor there. Wow. Let's take a break and ponder what he said. When we come back, we will be talking about what's going on with Liverpool and see if maybe they just might be contenders this year. For real, for real. We'll be back.
Can I make this thing bigger? Because you obviously cannot see from here. So just zoom in. Zoom in. And then
you're frazzled this morning.
Sorry?
You're frazzled this morning.
Have you heard of the multi-fund structure? Yes.
News has passed. Just zoom in so that you can read.
The multi-fund multi-fund structure is the new way of managing your pension funds.
Uh-huh.
So I can divide my RSA into all the funds and still have enough. There are 4 funds, and you can only fit into one of 4 funds
Darling,
at a
Arsenal
time
is worse
based
now.
on
Sorry, that's
your
what I saw
risk
yesterday.
appetite.
I can't even watch the games.
No, they are not worse. So they are not worse. They are just
learning.
they look like learners.
They are learning.
Real age, not
It's going to
They're
take a
learning.
while.
New York guy said do something. They say, are you sure? Say yeah. It's okay. We try it. And here we are.
control of your tomorrow with a multi-fund structure.
It's like getting version 1.0 of software. Wait for 2.0.
They're not so bad though. If they had just scored one chance, just one, the game may have turned out.
I didn't even see anything.
It's a lot deeper
I need to take out this hair. I forgot how much it obstructs my headphones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it's so convenient.
It's a hairstyle, but work is every day. So I'm like,
taking you from one place
yeah.
to another. We help you connect with the people
But
that
it
matter
just
most
comes
to you. Uber.
It's okay, I'll do big twists instead later.
Abi?
Because those are the most convenient.
Everyone's bragging about their
And that's what I really should have done. I should have done them as twists first and then wound them around. Because that way I can just take down the knots.
Yeah,
leave the
and then
twists,
leave the
but I didn't.
or cash. Sharply go to that Union Bank ATM outside to make a cardless withdrawal. Is that not good?
Go back in?
You wonder if it's possible without a Union Bank account. Just generate a pay code with your bank's app or USSD code on your phone and start withdrawing.
Studio, mics are up.
By their pay code.
Yes, we are back in talking sports inside the locker room. So let's jump into our final sports story for this morning. You see, Jurgen Klopp has questioned why Liverpool are being seen by many as Manchester City's only challengers for the Premier League title this season, and says that only in England can you seemingly win the title in the transfer market. He says, I couldn't be less interested in what other people say of us. We said it before the game again, and what people say is sometimes nice, sometimes not so nice, but it is always not important. Interesting.
Well, he has to take it. You've spent that much amount of money, and you had a team that played in UEFA Champions League last year, a team with, I would say, arguably one of the best strikers in the league, who also came back this season and scored again. So you can't complain when people start acting that you challenge Manchester City, because if you look at the work that Liverpool did in the season, they answered some of their questions. The goalkeeping area was one of the questions they needed to answer. They did buy a goalkeeper. Maybe they could have gotten one more central defender to help, but they're not as short on that like other teams. So they look like, and then they have a solid midfield and a good strike force. It just looks like a team that should compete. And then you come out on the first day and give a result that was 4-0. Could have been worse for other teams. And you had players like Sturridge coming up from the bench. So it is a team that people will look at and say, you know what, with all these investments that you've made, it's time to start winning trophies. So he's trying to push himself from that pressure, trying to separate himself from that pressure. Like, why should we be the ones competing? There's Chelsea, there's Manchester United. Why is it only us that people are pushing to Manchester City? Hey, you spend the money, you're going to have to deliver on the goods eventually. So you shouldn't cry too much. Just focus on your team and get them to compete or contend.
Okay, this one here up on our WhatsApp says from Kenny Hituga says, Folu, our darling Arsenal is worse now. Sorry, that's all I saw yesterday. I'm very confused.
A very confused team. Wow, Ken. Interesting. While Jacob from win the EPL or get no small chill. Wow. Very interesting. We've got more coming in. Ibro Makanaki says, good morning, guys. I'm glad you're on, and I pray that may that deal be permanent. The Super Eagles head coach is on the right page to drop a couple of players from the World Cup squad.